tracker setup of SR Island. This is the display PC, which is used for building experiments, designing them, and for the participant to perform the task on this. And this is your host PC, which will collect the eye tracking data and send back the eye tracking files to the display PC. Okay, so the whole eye tracking data collection happens in this. Now, this is the camera setup, a remote camera, which can be moved ahead. And we also have, there is a tripod inside.
So this comes with the entire suitcase essentially,
entire kit,
full of goodies
exactly.
when you buy it. And so yeah, here is your
So this is one setup number 2, and this is your setup number 3. Okay, we have 3 different ways of placing your camera depending on the kind of location that you're collecting data in. Because we are collecting completely like an idle task which requires the participant to sit in front of the computer and collect data, we have put it up as a fixation to the laptop itself. Whereas you can have a tripod, you can fix the camera to the tripod and place it for the camera to track your eyes. Or you can also have a head mount which is connected to the table that they are sitting at, where it requires them to not move their head much. So all of these connections depend on the type of task that you are doing, type of data that you are collecting, and also the kind of location that you are set in. Alright? And so you can see the infrared light coming from the camera, all of you. Shift this side. So you can see the infrared light coming out of the camera, which is illuminating your eyes. And the reflection of these is captured by the camera on your cornea. Okay? That is the reading that you can see here as corneal reflection, CR. And pupil is the center point of the pupil, the location of the pupil. To give you how the camera takes the reading, the whole idea behind taking your pupil value and the CR value, the corneal reflection value, is, let's say this is the pupil and there is a center, and there is a reflection of the cornea, reflection of the infrared rays on the cornea. Alright, when you move your eyes, this is the reflection. As you move your eyes, the reflection takes the relative position of the pupil ka center, and gives you the reading. Basically, gives you the location of where you are looking at. Alright? Yeah? Is that clear? Okay. We will do a small demo. Now, because this is a remote eye tracker, it needs some kind of a marker on your face that tells the system that, okay, this is where my main focus should be, where I can find the eyes. Okay? That we'll be marking using a target sticker, which is put on the center of their face, of the participant's face.
yeah. So that is one thing, that when you do wear a lot of heavy makeup of the sort that darkens your eyes, not like specifically anything else, but simply kajal or mascara or anything that creates shadow in this area, it interferes. It's not absolutely impossible to correct data then, but it interferes with your like eye tracking. So we either ask participants to take it off when they start the experiment, or we ask them to come in not wearing any eye makeup, because that's just easier, cleaner data, because you don't want so the problem is it starts tracking different parts of the eye, assuming that to be the pupil. So you don't want that to happen. What you just ask is, you usually keep some tissues or something, give them to the participant, ask them to clean it off, and then do the experiment. So we can try. Agar abhi hota hai, nahi hua to then somebody else can swap with you.
Okay? Okay, so
Here.
huh?
You look at the screen.
You look at the screen.
The computer
Okay.
will do its thing, the camera will do its thing, you just participate the task.
Okay. Okay. So you adjust the eye tracker, the camera in such a way that you have the target that is displayed here, and based on the detection of the target symbol, it will automatically record its eyes. Now the issue here is the target is not clear, it's blurred, right? So you have a zoom in and a zoom out option to the camera underneath, which
I think for this part you
Please,
guys should go there.
you
so that
shouldn't
can
move
see.
your head. Okay. So please look at the camera until we fix it at least.
Yeah, I would suggest all of you come this side because the real things are happening on that computer.
See, now her eyes are clear. This is blurred. It was like this earlier. The eyes are clear. They're getting clear. Can you see it? And as soon as the eyes got clear, you can see this is captured and the eyes are detected. Right? Okay. Now we have a meter over here which shows how close or far the participant is and the ideal location where the meter and the placing of the participant should be. So in this case, she is a little too far. You might have to push yourself inside a little. Yes, it's moving. Now based on that, we will move the eye tracker, the camera as well. Yeah, anything in the green zone is ideal. Okay, anything in the green zone is ideal.
The
Now,
ideal
the-
distance is between 45 to 62 centimeters is what they suggest
For the
for the setup
setup
thing,
eye tracker,
right? For
yeah.
like a
Okay.
whole thing where you keep your head mounted. So no more than 75 centimeters usually, but ideal would be between 45 to 65 centimeter. But since this is a head,
Remote.
like
remote, yeah.
yeah, so you get more flexibility, essentially allowing you to have to like literally have different types of participants come in because there are a lot of participants who are uncomfortable with the head mounted stuff as well. So this allows you to collect more data in different areas because you can't travel with that, but this is easier.
Now you see the issue with the kajal.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So it's basically the contrast between the white and the
Yes.
black.
Exactly,
which is why-
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So the infrared has to have, the way it projects the infrared onto your eyes is through the pupil.
Pupil, right.
So it marks the black the
thing
dark
is the-
and the
yeah.
light contrast.
Mhm.
Now because of the heavy kajal, it will take it,
But
but
we'll get
the
confused
slightest
usually,
movement
yeah.
and it will
Okay, miss it.
yeah, it will miss the
Yeah.
data. It will show it as people missing.
These are things that you get used to, like once you
Also-
start collecting data and when you get experience,
Yeah,
you're like, oh,
exactly.
these, you know exactly why something is not working,
Okay.
and you can fix it eventually like that. way.
And sometimes when we were collecting data from illiterates, their nose rings, their
Yeah.
glasses, the shiny rim of the glasses, anything that reflects the light back is a problem.
Yeah, I can't wear my septum when I sit for the eye tracker. I have to take it off.
Yes. So these are all issues that we face when you are collecting data because of the pure logic of the system. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to run a sample experiment with just your left eye data because that seems to be relatively stable.
So you can choose which eye tracks consistently.
I'll show them with the
Yeah.
setup.
You can usually choose between, so you can have binomial eye tracking, binocular eye tracking, or like monocular eye tracking. So typically people choose to do right eye because a lot of people, it's just standard, like it's been that way, so it's right eye. But we prefer to take, I mean, at least for my personal experiments, I prefer to take data from both eyes because you never know when there might be data loss in one eye. So if there is great data loss in a particular eye, you can compensate for it by taking the data from the other eye, because the idea is both the eyes will be doing the same thing more or less, right?
Yeah.
Even though there will be a little differences between the both of them, they will be doing the same thing more or less. So you can choose if there is like problems, like suppose during an experiment you ran you had a block of 50 trials, and in that 25 trials in the eye tracker could no longer find the cornea of the left eye maybe, okay, and you were not in the room. or you did not notice. So then in that case, if it's binocular eye tracking, the other eye is still tracking and you're still getting data.
Yeah.
If you just keep it on monocular, say by any chance you were not,
We miss the whole thing.
yeah, you will end up missing an entire block,
Block
or until you come to a point in your experiment where you've had a drift check or you've had something like that at a break. So it's easier to have binocular eye tracking just so that you do not experience really great data loss, because at the end of the day, when you've spent an hour collecting somebody's data, you come back to find out there's nothing in the EDF file, you want to cry.
Yeah.
So that's how you just keep it at binocular at usual as far as you can.
And the kind of calibration you do, sometimes it so happens, I'll show you the different calibration settings here. So, okay, before that, now that we have this setup, I'll just show you all the settings that you can modify and check depending on the hypothesis of your experiment, depending on the goal of what kind of data you want to collect. So, this is the operating mode. You can see remote as well as head stabilized. Remote is what we are using right now, where you have the target stuck, where you have the target to the person's head, and it uses the location of the target to detect the position of the eyes and do its job. Alright, in this case, if you can see, the eyes are very much zoomed in, right? It's zooming in up until the pupil of the eye. Now if I change it to head stabilized, you can see it automatically zooms out,
right?
because your location of the head mounting the stand will be fixed. So it will not take a variable distance. It will take a fixed distance, which, like she said, is
45.
between 45 to 75. Okay, and it will automatically create that distance in its calculation also. It will take into account that distance into calculation and place the eye markers and everything, the center line and everything. See, you can see it's again it's fixed to the center now. It's all relative to the. We will be fixing. No, we will be fixing the head mount stand there, the chin rest.
So essentially,
And,
once you've placed this, there is no
movement.
Right.
Because then the participant's chin is on this, and you ask them to not move their head as much as they can.
Yeah.
Because say in that you have a forehead support also, but because this is supposed to be traveling, you can't really put a forehead support. It's too cumbersome. So once this is there, the computer's like, fine, I know this. You're going to set it up according to this. And that's it. Then it will not make any other accommodations for you. While in this mode, it's completely like doing everything.
It's doing most of your job.
Yeah, that it can
In
for
remote,
like your job.
the system is doing most of your job. Okay, so now it's again zoomed in to focus on the eyes, depending on the target. Okay, and it will of course take into calculation this distance that it is trying to determine. Okay, the eye tracker settings, as you can see, this is the option to select whether you want to record from the left eye, the right eye, or both the eyes. And you also have a sample rate choice, 250, 500 and 1000 hertz. Now this is the illumination, 100% and 75%. Depending on the illumination of your lab, you will be changing the settings, and depending also on the condition of the eyes.
Right.
Sometimes some people have at least the older population have a.
So now we will start the experiment. Okay. So
placement shown here.
yeah, 1 second. You can use this. Keep your chin on this. Now there is a. It's too high. So what you do is you come closer, lower the chair a little.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Okay. So the way you adjust this is that the chin should be rested. It should not be elevated. It should not be like too slouching, because if you're slouching and they're doing it, the back will hurt and they will lose focus on what they're exactly doing. So okay, you come even closer. 1 second. The headrest is also very important, because this allows the vertical movement towards the camera. You don't want the head shift like this constantly, so you prevent that from this. Another thing is, so the camera and the chin rest has to be in a straight line, and they have to exactly align. So what we have done is we have taped labels. We have a tape label here also. So what we do is, if somebody is learning newly, you just tell them that keep it within these. As much as you adjust, keep it within these parameters. Okay, so you keep your chin here, and now I will do the calibration. Could you please move this side? Yeah. Okay. So like I said, now what we have to do is align the nose with the line. Right? Just reduce the irradiance, make it 75. Next time. Okay. So yeah. So what I'm doing right now is moving, keeping this stable, keeping the stand stable, and you see there's a ball bearing, and this bearing moves within the socket. Okay. So you just move it in whatever direction you want to move in order to align that. So now, okay, so the nose is aligning with the line, right? Okay. Another thing to keep in mind is that the eyes should come. Do you see the horizontal slits on the side of that polygon? Should be approximately within that region. So then it's almost the entire face is in view. Okay, which also means that if they look up or down or right or left, their eyes will not be lost. So like I was anticipating, I don't think we can track your eyes, but can you double click on her eyes? Yeah, so you see the crosshair is showing in other places because it's not finding the reflection that is trying to find in the eyes. So that will not work. But good spot. Alright. Yeah, somebody else might get try. Yeah. Today is the day for challenges. I pressed C. Now they see a dot on the screen. Like I said, this is the closer calibration. Now keep looking at the dot. And you see a comment here, it says stable. Stable or moving. Okay. So it's just detecting how stable the fixation is. Okay. And only if it's stable, it will consider it as a normal fixation. Otherwise, if you are in a different state, if you are in an agitated state, this will not stabilize. Okay. This is the indicator of the eye.
Okay. So is he not looking at the dot?
He is looking, but it's referential. The dot is here.
Okay.
They are sitting in the center. So they are looking there, but it's falling here.
Okay.